You can go ahead.
You guys ready? I'd like to call to order the Landmarks Commission meeting for July 25th, 2022. The time is currently 7 p.m. Roll call, please.
David Craycraft,
Here.
Roger White here, Jamar Cox.
Here.
Dr. Scott Kelly.
Here.
Whit Wardell.
Here.
Pete Lynch.
Here. I'd like to excuse Rich Dabda.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
David Craycraft,
Yes.
Pete Lynch,
Yes.
Roger White, yes, Jamar Cox.
Yes.
Dr. Scott Kelly.
Yes.
Whit Wardell.
Yes. Can I get a approval of minutes for the June 27th, 2022 meeting? Guess I'll make a motion then. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Is that Whit?
Yeah.
Roll call, Dr. Scott Kelly.
Abstain.
Roger White, yes, Whit Wardell.
Yes.
Jamar Cox.
Abstain.
David Craycraft,
Abstain.
Pete Lynch.
Yes. Pending applications.
The first application on tonight's agenda is CA 22-022. The address and subject property is 15 West Columbus Street. The applicant is requesting this evening to replace the existing 4-foot chain link fence around the playground area for the church with a new 6-foot wood privacy fence. The existing chain link fence around the property has a missing section in it. It also has some existing damage. The church is looking to replace it. They've also had some instances with vandalism, so they're trying to curb that with a taller fence to restrict access into the facility a little tighter. The proposed fence they are looking to replace would replace the north, east, and south sides of the fence, which are chain link. The west side is a wood privacy fence on the residential lot next door. So they are looking to kind of match up with a wooden material and height to mirror what is next door. The detail for what they're looking to do is up on the screen. They have not indicated if the fence rails would be on the inside or outside of this proposal. The application has kind of changed slightly since when the packet first went out for those that looked at it within this first kind of couple days. Originally, they wanted to change the 4-foot chain link to a 6-foot chain link, but based off the Old Town guidelines not recommending chain link for approved material, they looked to do a wood privacy fence instead. I have now talked to 3 different people at the church on kind of what they were thinking on this proposal here. So this is the latest iteration for discussion this evening.
Is the applicant present?
Yeah, I've never done this before.
Yeah, if you could step up, please. Thank you.
Good evening. Whoa, that's a lot. All right.
All right.
All right, about yourself.
Good.
Did you sign in?
Absolutely.
Andrew, the house in front of this is not part of the church?
No, the church sold the house in front of it 4 or 5 years ago. So it is a rental for somebody, but it's on its own parcel. One of the conversations I had with somebody before with the chain link design was that just this section, it might be good if it was a privacy fence just to screen this person's private backyard from the playground. That basically turned into making the whole thing the wood privacy fence, I believe.
Okay, thank you.
All except the chain link on the east side of the house. That will stay chain link, correct?
Correct, yeah, past this north threshold here that goes towards the house, that doesn't belong to the church, so that would remain.
Okay.
So the access to this area will stay the same where the missing piece is? Is that correct?
Negative. The access to it is going to be right there. The main reason for this, like Mr. Moore stated, is we found, there's kids out there. We have an educator at the building. The teachers have to go out and clear the playground. We found prophylactics out there. We found needles out there, and that's obviously not a good thing. And with the last, there was a situation that kind of occurred around the property here about a week ago where the sheriff's office department issued a situation where to be on the lookout for a suspicious person, and it's just kind of raised concern. So, and we've had issues with people being in the property after hours and kind of damaging some of the church's equipment, and that adds up over time. So the thought originally was to go with a 6-foot chain link fence, just to go from the 4-foot so we could have the visibility there. But the problem with that is it's fairly easy to climb a chain link fence. So if a kid wants in there, they're still going to be able to get in there. And then after talking with Department of Job and Family Services, who oversees the educare and the daycare operations there, they don't require any guidelines as far as being visible through it. So the flush fence, to go off of that, the beauty side would be out. So the beauty side would be south into the parking lot and north. So the rails would be on the inside, and to have a space picket. So there's still visibility through the fence, but not enough that somebody could get their foot through and actually climb over. And the fence would be secured with a lock. So it would only be used during school hours and wouldn't be a community playground. We've got tons and tons of parks around the area for people to do that, and unfortunately, it's just kind of been an issue for us here at the church, so.
Okay, thank you.
Planning on keeping it natural or painting it, or any plans?
So we were going to use cedar and just let it age naturally. Yeah. Mhm.
And is that spacing correct there, that 2.5 inches?
Yes. So the pickets are about 5.5 inches wide, give or take 1/8 of an inch, depending on milling. And then the 2.5 would give enough visibility so we don't have anybody hiding in there after hours or anything like that. The teachers could still see through or anything like that after hours. And then that way, it's wide enough to see through, but not quite wide enough for anybody to put a foot through to climb over, even a younger child. 2.5 inches is still pretty, maybe an infant, but I can't see an infant climbing a 6-foot fence, so.
Right.
So it'll be a dog ear, just
Yes,
like?
yes, sir.
And then the horizontal rails will probably be 2x4s?
Yes, sir. Mhm.
Does anyone have any further questions?
I'll make a motion to approve certificate CA-22-022 revision.
Second. Roll call, Rich Dobda. I'm sorry, David Craigcrab.
Yes.
Pete Ledge.
Yes.
Dr. Scott Kelly.
Yes.
Jamal Cox.
Yes.
Whit Wardell.
Yes.
Roger White, yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Have a good evening.
Who seconded that? I'm sorry.
Jamoya.
Thank you. The next application on tonight's agenda is CA 22-023. The address is 15 East Waterloo Street, and the request this evening is to paint the front door a new color. The landmarks boundaries has 2 districts, one historic, one preservation. The difference between the two is that the historic district regulates paint color. That's the original district that was established in the early 80s by the village of Canal Winchester. Up on the screen is the door the applicant is requesting to paint. The applicant has provided 2 paint samples for you guys. She brought physical samples so you can actually tell the difference between the two. It's pretty remarkable between the digital and the physical, and even the printed copies. They all look totally different. So this is really helpful so you guys can see kind of what they're thinking. Between the two, I don't think the applicant has any, strong opinions one way or the other. These are just the 2 that she liked, and wants really the direction from Landmarks which one to go with. And it's only going to be the front door for her new business.
Is the applicant present? If you would step up, please. you could sign in and state your name.
And then my name is Alexis Donahue.
Hello. Do you have any questions? Suggestions?
Of these two colors that have been provided, do you have a preference?
No.
And all you're doing is just painting the door, no new door or anything, just you're painting what's there.
Yeah.
The casing and around the windows and doors, everything stays white?
Yes.
Okay. As much as I'd love to choose one, I think either one's gonna be fine. Are you having a hard time choosing?
I was just hoping that you guys would want one of them, honestly.
If I had a preference, it would be the darker of the two.
I would agree with that.
The glow pink?
All right.
I mean, whatever color you choose, it's gonna pop the front door out like
That's,
here I am. You know,
Yeah,
which is, I
that's-
think, what you want.
I mean, I'd like the darker one, the
Glow pink?
glow pink.
Yes, I agree.
You okay with that?
yes.
With that said, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve application CA-22-023 with the color of the front door being glow pink.
I'll second.
Roll call, Pete Lynch,
Yes.
Whit Wardell.
Yes.
David Craycraft.
Yes.
Roger White, yes. Dr. Scott Kelly.
Yes.
Jamoya Cox.
Yes.
Perfect, thank you.
The next application on tonight's agenda is CA 22-024. The address of the subject property is 48 East Waterloo Street. And the applicant this evening is requesting exterior modifications to the subject property with the remodel of this residential home to a commercial property. The residential home was constructed in 1926 from my historic inventory. It has only been to Landmarks Commission one time in 2017, when the previous property owner got approval for the wood privacy fence on the property line. That was in reference to a violation notice that was sent because he had an RV park there, wasn't properly screened. So that's why that fence exists today. The property owner is looking to do a series of renovations to the residential home I'm going to cover. In your packet, there is a 11 by 17 kind of fold-out page that goes through each section that I want to kind of cover in little spurts here. Anything I miss, I'm sure the applicant would be glad to touch base on, and you can reference this for the project. With the conversion to a commercial property, first the applicant is looking to construct a small parking lot off of that access drive. That is not a public street, so the applicant will be getting a easement from that property owner to access that area for parking, but is looking to add 4 spaces to the back there. And as part of that would be blocking off that driveway for a more of like a patio scenario. The driveway depth is not really deep enough for a full-size vehicle to park there. So it was really just a direction to kind of help regulate where the parking should go. With the project as well, be a connection to the front of the house to the back with new walkways, and then a patio here on this side that will lead to the side of the deck. On the front of the home here, this graphic kind of illustrates what the applicant's looking to do and the changes to the front porch. She's looking to reconstruct a column in that missing kind of third piece in the middle there that will match the two on the other side. With this process, they'll also be removing the vinyl siding from the lower portions of the columns and trimming those out to be a similar design to the upper portions. The applicant's also looking to possibly remove this solid railing here on the porch and doing a square column railing on the sides that will match Mr. Jarvis's house to the left. As part of that is looking to replace possibly these handrails that lead down to grade here. With the project, the applicant is looking to paint the house. The main body would be the Swiss coffee, the trim would be the caviar color, and then the front door would be the teal color. Here's a kind of colored rendition the applicant put together that shows what the house colors would look like. This rendition does not show the change for that third column that was referenced, so I want to make note of that. And then with the proposal here, the applicant is looking to retain the windows that are there but take the aluminum storms off. But they're not looking to put in new black windows like this rendering shows, just so keep that into consideration. Here's a zoomed in picture of the solid banister that they're looking to open up to look like what is next door. They're also going to be exploring the handrails that go down to grade to remove the prefab metal ones that are there. With the porch project, they're also going to be doing maintenance on the porch decking. From what I could tell, this is a 3 1/4 tongue and groove wood porch decking. The applicant said they're going to kind of spruce it up from what's there, so I assume that means it's going to stay the same material as what's existing. The porch now is uneven and unlevel, so they're going to be leveling it out as part of this process. Changing some of the exterior lighting on that front porch, make it a little more of a modern kind of aesthetic. And then looking at the sides here, you can see the side of the house will stay primarily the same, but what they're looking to do around all the windows on all 4 elevations is to trim out the windows so they have a little more depth and profile to them. The original idea was to add shutters to the windows, but a lot of the windows are grouped in 2s or 3s. So the trim will kind of act in lieu of the shutter scenario in this instance. With the conversion to commercial, the detached garage is going to have some renovations as well. The applicant is looking to put in a new canopy on the rear and the front that will match a canopy that's on the side of the house already. And then on the garage door side, they're looking to fill that in, add a series of windows that will match the house, a new commercial door off to the side with a side light. And again, we'll have that similar covering that will match the side of the house that already exists. If there's any questions or things I missed, I can kind of go over those with you guys. The applicant's here to answer any questions you have.
Andrew, the easement from the adjacent property, is that a done deal?
At this time, it's not up to staff if that easement happens or not, but it would affect the usability of the parking lot. I don't know if that has happened yet at this time.
We're in the process of getting it drafted. We're still in contract on the property because of an issue with the title. So we're hoping to close this week on the property. It's been 3 months, but there's the deceased owner was still on the title with his wife, and so it's in probate, hopefully going through this week. But
So our approval would be pending
on the easement.
on the easement.
Mhm.
For parking.
We've had discussions with Andrew Osbach, though, and he's in agreement on
Okay.
shared maintenance and an easement.
All right. Yeah, and on this graphic here, you can see they're actually showing, they have the ability to put in 6 spaces, but they're showing 4 would go in with the immediate project, but they're going to plan with grading and rear yard improvements to add 2 more if they need it.
At the far rear?
No, if you look right here, that have the shrubbery in them.
Yes.
So all the fencing's coming down?
Yes, and 2 trees, one of which is dead, is going to come down, but the one closest to Waterloo is going to remain.
So Andrew, we're not approving or considering signage at this point?
The applicant has in their packet concepts for how they would like to do signage, but they don't have any final signage plans. Their intent at this point, and you can kind of see it on this rendition, is something from a porch column that matches similar items in the area. But since they didn't have any details for like a bracket or a size, I didn't put that in your presentation this evening because they acknowledge on one of the pages that they'll have to come back for that.
Yeah.
Hey, Andrew, on the exterior elevation, where it says option number 2, you had mentioned that the windows will not be black,
Right.
correct? But
And that's a
the-
really stark white. That's not the color that we were,
So it's
it's
not
more of a
gonna be
Swiss
this
coffee
white.
color. Yeah, it's not gonna be stark white. It's gonna be more of a Swiss coffee with and then trimmed out with an accent
I mean,
color.
do you have a sample of that?
I did not bring samples, but they are in the presentation that you have.
But anyway, what I was going to get at, the column bases, I mean, still show the horizontal vinyl siding. That's
Yeah.
going to be gone, right?
Yeah, I believe this rendering is an early on version that was looking at if the windows got replaced and then just kind of thinking about color palette for the front porch in relation to the siding. So, yeah, some of the
The
details for the
architectural-
porch isn't correct.
Yeah, the architectural drawings do show that siding gone and trimmed out. This was really just an example to show the idea of a whitish color on the property instead of tan.
So the existing white windows will stay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So as far as the railing goes, you're kind of up in the air on two options.
So, yeah, so either keep what we have or switch it out to something very similar to what's next door that the Jarvises have, which is beautiful. I think it'll come down to budget, but honestly, we would prefer a new railing to match the next door neighbor. If we need to, we will keep it that solid railing. And then the banister down, replacing the handrails would also match in style.
So you're going to utilize the house portion as offices?
Correct. So, it will be an office where we can see patients on the main level with administrative offices upstairs. And then the garage will also be kind of a training center for us and a meeting center for us.
Andrew, does this have to have some type of ramp or something for ADA or?
I talked with the applicant on when they submit for their building permit items, they'll have to show the ADA compliance that will be met with the facility. There are some exceptions in the building code for historic significance of properties, and the threshold for meeting that compliance has to show there has been some level of upgrades to it. So, without seeing what their floor plans are, I don't know what that threshold would be. But they do have in the back, on this plan here, a decking area that looks like there would be enough room to accommodate something if they need it. But it could be as simple as long as the thresholds inside of the house are wide enough, and if they have like an ADA restroom, that could meet the requirement. It just all depends on what level of finish they're going to do, which is something that can be done after.
Yeah. The rear building that's going to be our training center will have the ability to see patients in that area as well. So any public-facing person that needs accommodation will be able to be accommodated in that building. We're adding an ADA accessible bathroom in that building as well. So it'll have access to that handicap parking spot. Access through the back will be ADA accessible, and then we'll be able to accommodate anybody from the public that would need to access our services.
So the house won't be ADA accessible? It'll just be the training center?
The house, we'll see patients there as well. It's just for accommodations, we can see patients in the back
Okay.
training center.
You said you weren't planning on replacing the porch boards, or you are? I thought maybe you said repair them.
I don't believe that we are. I think it's
Okay.
going to be sand and refinish and
Okay. Well,
paint.
when you mentioned, Andrew, that there's some unevenness and things like that, I'm just,
It's actually remarkably good. If you saw it in person, it's got some wear, but I think a sand and refinish should be
Okay.
able to get it in good shape.
the panel above or below the band, the porch band in the front elevation, I mean, it looks like it's vertical,
This right here,
yeah, vertical
Mhm.
slats, I think.
you can see it on this sheet too.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Will those stay?
I am open to suggestions. Our hope is that this will be a really, really nice looking commercial space that's going to be something we're really proud of, and that you guys would mind looking at every day as you're coming to work. But I think we talked about just replacing that lattice to something similar, but definitely that will be addressed during the general repair and maintenance and cleanup that will be done to the yard.
I think I would prefer not to have lattice there, to have something similar to what's there now.
The vertical slats?
Are nice.
Yeah.
When they're painted up.
Yeah, I
When
think,
you're talking
yeah.
the lattice. that-
Yeah,
that-
I'm not a lattice fan, but yeah, I meant something similar to that. So yeah, if we can paint those or find something similar to replace it.
Andrew, do we have any history on the railing? Has it ever changed from this?
Looks like it's been upgraded or updated.
Yeah,
Panels at some point.
from what, and you're talking about this front
Correct.
section here, yep, I couldn't find anything in the paperwork I have for historic pictures of this home. Just looking at the columns here, I think if you took the siding off, you may be able to see some wear where something used to be. I don't think this middle column ever existed previously, but I think it would be the same, Dave, as like when you did your house, someone kind of built something out and wrapped it. But no, I don't know if this was ever open or it's always been closed. There's the other house on East Columbus that you guys approved the closed railing, and that one always had a closed railing. I remember she said that when she came in. Do you remember that one by the log cabin?
Yes. Plywood one.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. Every time I drive by.
Can we go back to the garage image? What's the style of door? It says commercial style. Is it possible to put a, full glass door that's a little more residential
Yeah,
in that area?
yeah. Or even the lady that was before us, that, where it was mostly glass and had a wood panel at the bottom.
Yeah.
I think that would be lovely.
That would be preferable.
And Pete, you mean not like a tube-like product, but something that has more of like a
Correct.
composite or a wood material?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, either it could still be a full glass or, half glass, 2/3 glass, something a little more traditional.
So traditional style, not commercial.
I'd say 2/3. My front door on my house, it's got like a 2/3, but it's got the beaded insulated glass panels.
I'll agree with
But
that.
we'd want to do something with the side light too, wouldn't we? Versus being, is that all glass? Well, I guess the side light would be all glass.
It's harder to get a whole unit that way in a more traditional style.
Mhm.
Would you be okay with kind of casing in the side light as opposed to buying a whole unit that has the door and the side light all together?
You mean casing in to match?
Just so it looks a little older. A lot of times when you buy like a two
Oh,
light
I
series,
get what
it
you're
comes
saying.
all in
Yes.
one unit.
Yeah.
We're
I-
not sure if you can buy an assembly
That will have
that
that
will have
look.
that, a more traditional look. I mean, maybe there would be.
I'm happy to talk to our contractor and see what we can do to get a look that has the side light and the door that aren't just one of those prefab units.
Yeah,
that are-
typically if you have a 2/3 glass door, whatever the panel is at the bottom, you'll also have a panel
Yeah, yeah.
on the side light.
So is the plan to keep the rear of the garage the same siding?
Yeah, so
Or
currently
do
there's a
we
garage
do it?
door there, so we would need to get replacement siding
I mean, I see the
and complete it out.
windows. I mean, I would imagine it'd be trimmed out in wood, even though it's a vinyl siding, and I think the corner boards are vinyl.
Mhm.
I just.
Yeah, it looks like,
Casing around the doors and windows.
I mean, I'm just wondering how to case them out.
it looks like here, Dave, they're showing that all the windows on the existing house and the garage would be cased out with a 1x4 sides and a 1x6 head and sill. That'd either be a wood or a composite,
All the windows?
the house and the garage.
So this doesn't show.
That does not show
Correct.
that. That was just for
So I think there's just
color
a J
only.
mold.
Just throw that page away.
Yeah. That was for color only, yeah.
It's just a J mold, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a look, it'll look nice.
So all the siding, J mold will come off, all the siding will be cut out to accept, what, a 1x4 you said, Andrew?
Yeah, it says here on this page, a 1x4 side and a 1x6 top and bottom.
Okay. You know, while we're on the windows on the east side that have the little box windows, I mean, those lights will stay. I mean, the vertical
Three
Yeah.
days.
button bars will be the three.
And those are actually simulated divided light windows. When I was out taking pictures, it's an exterior grid that's applied on the outside. I haven't seen fixed windows that had that before. I thought that was very unique.
Okay.
You can see it on, well, the window's right here. You can't see it.
So only new windows are just gonna be in the garage.
Correct. With the exception of those tiny ones, the windows are in fairly good shape and are fairly new, so.
And the side facing the house, does that, I apologize, does that door stay? The side of the garage that faces the house?
The side,
This one.
There's a red
we
red
will
door
likely
there.
try to replace that as well. It's not in good shape and it will need to be replaced. So whatever we get for the rear, we'll look at matching that
Okay.
on the front. I don't even think it's functional at this moment.
Let's go back to the railing on the front porch. I mean, I think we should make a decision on what we want to see there.
That's something that you said may come down to budget. But you do prefer the open square space?
We prefer open if possible, yeah. I think,
I mean, I'm
I
not
think it would look
opposed.
really nice to.
Is that
replace
railing in good condition?
It's not great.
No, it's not
This
great.
photo here,
The whole porch is.
it's like
sagging.
sag, yeah.
Yeah, and visually, it just kind of messes with you, especially if you're on the inside looking out. So the goal is to level and just update that front porch.
What's the color gonna be of the porch railing? If it's open,
I believe white,
is it gonna stay? Okay.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not opposed to either.
So we could approve the existing railing with paint or a replacement railing similar to what Bruce Jarvis has. We could do either or and give them that option.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
It'll match, the pillars will match, they'll be paneled out.
Correct, yeah. So instead of having siding on the bottom part of that pillar, they'll all match the top, and then we're adding that middle column.
Where does the caviar color come in?
That's that black color. It's probably the front door, the tread on the stairs, and the floor of the porch.
Okay.
What color will the trim be around the windows? The siding color or the,
So I
Caviar
believe that
color.
we're looking at that Swiss coffee color as the main color with white trim
so the.
around the
box
windows and
windows
around.
would be
the-
white?
Mhm. And then the Swiss coffee as the color of the house, basically.
Okay.
There's a house about 4 doors down that has that color combination, where it's like that Swiss coffee type color, but with white trim, and that's sharp.
That's the house that you guys approved.
Hillary's.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah, it turned out nice.
Andrew, all the windows in the house, they look like they're all 1/1s minus those 2 little 3 lights on the side, correct?
Yeah, when I went out, the windows look they look fairly new. This one's a slider on this side, the rest are 1/1s, except for these. There's another, I believe another one of these on the opposite side, just before this door, if I'm remembering correctly. But they all, on the front, have aluminum storms on them. Get back here. They all have aluminum storms on the front. I'm not sure about the sides, but those ones I can see.
Will the aluminum storm windows stay?
I believe we talked about getting rid of those.
Okay.
Our architects over there, right? Yeah.
Was the front porch light staying, or was that gonna be replaced?
That's gonna be replaced. I think we threw up several styles that were consistent with the neighborhood there.
And they're also moving the mailbox from a sidewalk load to something on the porch.
Right, that sidewalk mailbox is probably gonna go. You think about that?
Do you want to comment on here's the exterior lighting options? That would be these, right?
Right,
Is this the overall style, or are you actually going to choose from one of those?
that's overall style.
Hate to keep jumping around here, but on
It's
your
a lot.
garage, the foundation on the garage, is that block gonna be painted to match as well?
It can be, yes. Yeah. I think it should be.
Does anyone have any further questions for the applicant? Is that no?
That's no for me. I do like the wood handrails compared to what's there now.
That's actually a question I had. If you replace the iron handrails out front, typically those set out over the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's done, are you okay with widening the steps? Kind of opens the door to another project there.
Yeah, the steps are actually fairly wide already. If you want to look up, he pulled up what is next door. You can kind of see how that worked with those existing stairs, and it looks like we can probably accomplish the same thing. We'll need to, we're going to be replacing all the existing paver walkways, and so we'll have to make sure we have enough of width in the walkway to the left, but
Let's just get to the corner.
It just may push your rail clear to the inside of that column. Sometimes looks a little bit off.
right.
I mean, you don't need to widen the existing steps. We're just saying move see how Bruce's railing is?
It hits the center of the column,
Okay.
and this is on the inside
That
of
is
the
coming on
column.
the inside of it?
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
if you extend the rails out, then there'll be a gap between the end of the tread.
Our
and the
architect is
rail.
here, and they can comment on that. I'm fine with it, but
Yeah, hello.
Hi.
Hi there.
I think if they went with that option, we would have to widen the stair because the rails are gonna go down the center of the piers. So,
Thank you. Go back, Andrew. To the previous one.
This one?
So are we gonna say, if they do, are we saying they need to bring them out to the center of the pier? Or just bring them out to the corner,
It just always looks like an afterthought.
if it's just there?
Yeah, for being so wide. Typically, you'll widen the stair.
Would the column at the end of the railing, that would have to be narrower than these monstrosities on the porch,
Correct.
like much narrower.
Well, and again, that offset starts to look, if the railing's right on the edge, then that post actually sets in from the edge. So you just start to get a whole lot of things offset. It just doesn't usually look right.
Would it be better to leave the rail as is?
I personally, since you're painting it all white, I think the railing actually looks kind of nice that way. Is it in bad shape?
it's pretty dated. We could see if we can sandblast it and
Or replace it with something like
replace it with something similar.
Fortin
I
rail?
mean, I guess what we're saying,
And
if you
they're
leave it where
fluted.
it's at, we're okay with that.
Okay.
If you want to replace it with another metal rail,
Sure.
we're okay with that.
Gotcha.
It just means you don't have to widen the steps and put the handrails in the center line of the columns.
Okay.
Is every other rail fluted, not every rail?
I think so, yeah.
So it's spiraled and then straight and then spiraled and then straight. And then has the duckbill hook at the end. I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me.
Mm-hmm.
Would anybody like to make a motion here?
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve application CA-22-024 with the following amendments
Conditions.
or conditions. Let's start with the garage. We're going to paint the foundation wall on the garage. Pardon?
The doors.
The door assembly, the door and the side light will be a more traditional look, either half and half, half glass, half wood, or three-quarter glass, quarter wood.
In the alley side and the rear side of the garage, those doors will match.
Yes.
There are no black windows, just
And
No
there are
black
no black
windows.
windows, no raccoon eyes.
The porch railing can either stay as is, or it can be changed out to a wood with the square balusters,
vertical square.
vertical, and painted white.
Would you want, if it gets changed out to square, the handrails have to change or they can stay and do it?
The iron railing,
Correct.
I think I'm fine with them staying.
Either or just?
Either or.
Either or.
Yeah, I think it looks fine with what they had.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they do keep them, I don't know, I would paint them white, I think they'd match the,
Oh, we keep.
The
them
white's just the.
Black.
Yeah, black, yeah.
Yeah, the white's, the painted white's just the porch railing, not the
Right,
railings
okay.
coming down the
Okay,
stairs.
gotcha, okay.
Also, Dave, the lattice, vertical lattice work underneath the porch, we could keep to that style even if you decide to rebuild it.
as opposed to the square
Mhm.
or X lattice. I think that was it.
And the lights, the front entry light on the porch will be a style as shown on the pictures.
Right.
I mean, there's no name defining each of those styles.
I think that any of those will work.
Okay.
Something of this. of
But
this
we're
sort.
saying any of those will.
Yeah, rectangular,
Yeah.
elongated sconce.
Mhm. Was that it?
So, can I get a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Jamar Cox,
Yes.
Whit Wardell,
Yes.
David Craycraft,
Yes.
Dr. Scott Kelly.
Yes.
Pete Lynch.
Yes.
Roger White, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next application on tonight's agenda is CA 22-025. The address is 25 North High Street, and the request this evening is for a new awning on the front of the building with signage on the valance. The subject property was constructed in 1850 from our historical inventory. The previous property owner and the current property owner have been to the Landmarks Commission numerous times since 1992. The prior HER tenant that was in the building got approval for a red awning on the front of this building. When they left the facility, they took the awning with their branding with them, but left the frame up in place for the next tenant to use. The applicant this evening is requesting to install their new awning on the facility. I provided Pete the Sunbrella fabric book that shows the blue that will be the front of the awning, and then the lighter aqua color that is the sides of that awning's valance. The applicant is proposing to do signage on the valance section on the front and the sides for their business that's locating in this facility.
Hi.
Good evening.
On the print on the part of the island, or the awning, I mean, how high is that? I mean, will people be able to see that as they're driving down the street?
Yeah, per the design, it's going to be a 9-inch valance that should be
Oh, okay.
more than visible to the public driving by or walking by. And we found it would be very similar, I believe it's Winchester Galleries, that's either the next door down or 2 doors down from us, with having the logo on the sides.
And that's the name of the company, iPromo.
Yes, iPromo.
Okay.
Yep,
And that's the only changes you're requesting, right, is?
that's correct.
That pattern, that wave pattern that's there, that's actually. part of the-
Yes, yeah, it'll be a lighter blue. It won't match the navy. It'll just be like a shade lighter. But that'll be printed on, similar to the text on the front.
You know what, I might have missed it, but is this a cloth or a fabric or a metal?
Umbrella.
That's fabric.
Okay.
Yes, umbrella.
Umbrella.
Oh, yeah, that's right, okay, okay. And then underneath would just be the structure, no lighting or anything like that?
That's correct.
Would this area below the windows remain the HER red color?
That was something we wanted to change, but we weren't sure really what to change it to, whether it be, 'cause I think it would be difficult to paint it to match the white, because I think we would still want it to stand out, but we're open to suggestions on that.
Did it match the previous awning?
It was close, but how it was installed did not match what you guys approved at the time. For those that remember, it was actually supposed to be trimmed out with 1x4 boards to create an actual recess. And that's actually like quarter round. That's just kind of angled to create a square loop in it. So in this instance, it is an accent kind of color piece when before it was supposed to be like a panel system. That's the only reason why I asked. It was,
Yeah.
Trim it to match the line.
Did you have any ideas, what you were thinking about painting?
No, that's really up to, we're open to suggestions on that.
It may tie together a little better, just painted blue, like the darker blue, maybe.
Like the
just
navy?
The trim itself,
Yeah.
just the trim.
You mean the trim meaning?
It's red,
Okay.
just painted it
Yeah.
tied to the element.
Yeah, I like that.
And I did want to point out, we did not plan on putting any sort of decals on the glass, whether it be the door or the few panes in the front. We did not intend on putting any vinyl applications to that.
Any further questions?
I'd like to make a motion to approve CA-22-025 with the awning as presented. And if the applicant chooses to paint the molding around the raised panels at the bottom, that they match the blue awning.
Sounds good.
I'll second.
the dark blue or the light blue?
Dark blue. Roll call, please.
Pete Lynch.
Yes.
David Craycraft.
Yes.
Roger White, yes. Jamal Cox.
Yes.
Whit Wardell.
Yes.
Dr. Scott Kelly.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The last application on tonight's agenda is CA 22-025, excuse me, 026. The request this evening is, I did not give you anything staff reports for this one. The request this evening is to change the design for Lot 50 for the Clinton Street project. Previously, this was approved in May for a 1.5-story home on this parcel. The applicant, after getting feedback from the buyer of this lot, is looking to change that to a 1-story. So I'll kind of go over the changes here this evening. Based on the discussion from the May meeting, the applicant did move those homes to be 25 feet away from Clinton. Previously, they were 35. So lot 50 and 51 here are 25 feet away, and then lot 52 is somewhere around 30, somewhere in between with the angle of Groveport Road here. This plan also shows you kind of their landscape schedule. That was part of the civil engineering that they're looking to do. And then the floor plan for lot 50 here with the change to a ranch style product. Some of the changes to note from the prior is the master bedroom location kind of changed to the back here, which changed some of the porch locations. You can see that on the plans I provided with you for the 1.5-story elevation, and then the ranch is one of the last pages here behind their application. With the change to a ranch home, the design intent on the front of the house is virtually the same as what was there before. The only change on this elevation you can see from the prior approval is there's no dormers on this side because there's no second floor to the house. Other than that, the applicant has updated the door to what you guys approved last time for style, has reflected the garage door intent that was incorrect the last time it went to you guys for review. And then with the reduction in height, they took off a vent that was above this window here. When looking at the sides of the home, again, the dormer that would have been, the 2 dormers that would have been in this elevation here have been removed. With the windows beneath, you can see they kind of reoriented that space for the different bedroom and living room configurations. So the windows are evenly spaced out on this north elevation now. It removed that tall transom window that was in the space before. And then the porch assembly is now framed in on one side when before it was not. So that's kind of that big change in the back that I was referencing from before. With this change as well, they're looking to do a scalloped kind of accent piece in this back section. Before it was open with a metal roof to match the, it was vinyl siding that kind of tied into the rest of the elevation, but with the clearance height dropping down, the accent material was brought in this location. Again, the optional screen and porch selection for the site as well. When looking at the rear of the home, again, this is kind of that covered porch area that was different than the last rendition for you guys. Again, you can see that on the kind of before and after. The grouping of the windows is primarily the same, just everything kind of shifted over a little bit. And then instead of adding the porch on this far end, this is now the master bedroom space. So that kind of kicked this covering over here to the center. Materials for color breakdown is the same as what you guys looked at before. So that has not changed. Again, the applicant just updated the detail for the door and the garage door to match what you guys have approved. And then here's kind of just a front view comparison here from the story and a half to the ranch product. So with this modification, lot 50, the one further south is proposed to be a ranch. The other two are a story and a half. The height of this house will obviously be a little shorter than the story and a half other two units that have been approved previously. If there's any questions, I'd be glad to help answer. Jason is here to answer any questions you guys have for him.
So one of the main things, you took this screen porch and just pushed it away from the street more, and it's more in the back of the house now.
It was always in the back, but I think it was on the back corner versus now it's in the back middle.
Okay.
Yeah, and they are planning on doing the screen porch option versus the open covered porch.
Okay.
On that Groveport side, Groveport Road side.
This is
This is the-
lot 50,
Yeah.
so the furthest one south.
Yeah, this is
So it's this one right here.
there you go.
Groveport's on the north.
Oh, I thought it was.
Yeah, I thought so too. I was looking at it earlier.
It's not the house you were interested in buying. It'd be your neighbor, though.
Changes my thought process a little bit. So the back, still Groveport Road side of the house, they're gonna do that screen porch all the way across the back side. I know we're talking three houses.
Yeah, yes, yeah, yep.
I had a question about that entry door, but if it's gonna be screen porch, don't need to worry about that. On the, that front door, is that reeded glass? Or is that just what's in the picture? Is it gonna be clear glass?
It'll be clear glass, yes.
Okay. Almost looks like a reeded glass.
Yeah, I think when we took it and we kind of photoshopped it to make it the 2/3, it kind of distorted the glass coloration in the rendering. But it'd be the clear glass with the similarly divided light like in the architectural drawing.
I mean, the way it's shown on the front elevation.
Yes.
Yeah. What, on the front porch, what was the ceiling of the porch, or the porch?
Fir plywood, wood.
Yeah, I think it was discussed, it was a boxed out style.
Charleston.
Yeah, Charleston, that's what you said, that hid the seams.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew, did we approve aluminum or vinyl fascia? I thought all that was, everything was James Hardy except for the soffit material. Is that right?
If you look at the old, the single sheet I gave you here, for the story and a half, the aluminum or vinyl soffit and fascia to match was approved.
Yeah, the soffit and fascia should, not the porch, but the rest of the eaves and the overhang, the soffit and fascia, all of that would be either a vinyl or aluminum product. But everything, all the siding material is all hardy or LP, cement board product. And that's the way it was last time, so none of that has changed this time, if there was any confusion there.
On those soffits, do they have different designs of soffit? I mean, versus like a beadboard type thing, versus just flat?
Several different grooved soffit options, some are vented, some aren't.
I just didn't realize we approved the aluminum fascia there. But we did.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like everything's the same. I'm just taking it down a notch.
Yeah.
Any further questions?
How does that tie in, Pete, just for my own knowledge, where the aluminum, that's that horizontal band between the two different siding materials? Is that what that is?
No, it's just the fascia, so.
I'm just looking where the arrow is pointing.
Freeze board comes up underneath the soffit. And
Okay.
that's all gonna be James Hardy or.
Yes.
So it's just talking
Yeah, this
about
freeze board here.
the fascia material is going to be wrapped aluminum, I'm assuming, or some type of vinyl.
Yeah, I think where you're driving, or the question you're leading towards, is certainly all of everything horizontal where you have a gutter would have, of course, the aluminum on the fascia, and the gutter is attached to that. The area, I believe where you're driving on is, or leaning towards, is the gable ends facing the street in this instance, where you're gonna see that it currently is aluminum, and that's what we had done last time. I am totally open to covering that. I would still put aluminum up, or at least wrap it around it, but I can put a trim board on top of that gable end facing the street, just to get rid of the aluminum look as far as that face, if that's what your concern is. I've got no problem. I've done that many, many times.
So any gable ends that do not have gutters, you would trim out?
Yeah, well, and then, so it'd be the main front gable, yes, that one right there. Well, it'd just be
Andrew, it's
the
just
245.
sloped.
Okay.
Yeah, just the
Because
up and down.
gutters are gonna be on everything else.
Yeah,
Or
and
hide
if-
everything else behind it.
Correct, and if you flip to the other I'd have to see the elevations. So, and typically, we would not do it in the back or necessarily the sides, only because it's not a visual sight view from the general public typically.
How would you transition on, can we go back to that front street facing gable? So that roof in the front over the porch, you would want to have aluminum.
Yeah, the fascia tucking up underneath that gutter, underneath the metal roof, standing seam metal roof would be aluminum, yes.
See, I think there's a missing line. See this vertical line right here?
It's missing here.
It's missing over here.
Yeah, because it'll set back.
So the gutter will stretch from here, well, all the way to here.
I was just thinking about that transition between the bird box and
See what we're
will it
talking
set back a
about?
little bit from the bird box typically?
Yeah, you'll have a transition there where the bird box coming down will be wood, and then you'd have the aluminum tucked underneath it, and then the gutter covering over top of it.
See where this vertical line is right here?
Yeah, it's missing on the left side.
That should be over here.
Yep.
Right. So all of this down will be non-aluminum or it'd be more of a natural composite or something like that. It's this piece here that will be the aluminum behind the gutter.
It's just the piece behind the gutter, correct? Yeah, the actual what they call the breastboard, which is your porch beam, that would all be the wood material as well, yeah. It's really, what we're really trying to do is trying to create a maintenance-free situation on your overhangs.
How does this work on the two houses next to it?
It'd be the same thing.
We do the same in the
Yeah,
front?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that idea.
I actually like this house on a ranch design more than the story and a half.
I do too,
It's a lot simpler.
especially without that big horizontal window on the side. Just having a hard time with that.
Yeah, Andrew was giving me a hard time on that last time too. I mean, it worked on the floor plan and it needed something over there, but yeah, no, this is a lot cleaner.
Any further questions? I'd like to make a motion to approve application CA-22-026 as presented with the one condition that the front fascia on the gable, everywhere on the front that does not have gutters, is a composite or wood material, like the rest of the house below. Other than that, it looks good.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Pete Lynch,
Yes.
Dr. Scott Kelly.
Yes.
Jamal Cox.
Yes.
David Craig.
Yes.
Whit Wardell.
Yes.
Roger White, yes.
You know what, I usually call the on the gable end a rake. I mean, have you called it that before?
The gable end is your rake, yeah.
Yeah.
The whole assembly is your rake.
Right.
Yeah, it's the underside is the soffit, the
right.
face is the fascia, but the whole assembly is called a rake, yes.
And then just for the commission's reference, Mr. Heitmeyer has approval on his civil engineering now, so that's done. And then he got a variance from the Planning and Zoning Commission to not do a basement on them. During the civil review, we found that the basement depth was dangerously close to having sewage being flooding in the basements during extreme storm events based off of other data we had from that lift station. So P&Z did not require him to do basements like our code says. I know that was brought up when you guys saw it in May, so he's really ready to pull building permits now and get rocking, so.
We'll be submitting tomorrow morning.
Where's the finished floor line in relation to the Clinton Street or the alley street?
I don't know offhand, I think, yeah, the engineers have them all laid out on each lot,
Okay.
yeah.
There's slope away from the houses, I can tell you that much.
Can't be more than about 2 feet.
Yeah.
It's gonna look nice.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Good luck with it.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thanks, Jason.
All right.
thanks.
Two hard copies, two plot plans. Two hard copies? Two plot plans. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to say, if Dave and I ever start throwing out weird terms and you don't know what we're talking about, just ask. I forget sometimes.
That's why I asked, because I have no
I
idea.
appreciate it.
In terms of old/new business, if you guys haven't seen the siding that's going on Waterloo 2, definitely take a look at it in sunlight between the siding and the Da Vinci shingles. It's my favorite building in town, I think.
It's a great addition. Yeah,
Yeah.
really stoked about it.
I've had only 2 complaints that there's no brick on that building. And one wasn't a complaint, it was just like a shock that Landmarks didn't require, like a downtown building to have brick. But they said they thought about the 2 houses that used to be there and how the design of this matches, this houses in terms of materials. And so then they understood kind of, why that wasn't a requirement. But, yeah, someone with the city was really upset there's no brick there. They said we're a brick community. And, we just.
Well, Shades has no brick on it. It's horizontal siding.
Yeah.
That's pretty common. A lot of-
I mean, you
lot of
don't want
old buildings
everything, you
downtown
don't want
have been sided.
everything to look the same. You want variety.
Exactly. So, just to let you know, you guys are doing an awesome job. That's, like I said, my favorite building in town. I think it will be when it's done for sure. In terms of kind of other projects and upcoming stuff, the Napa move to 152, they are looking to get that started soon. I'm going to be working with them on a sign application for you guys for review. The first iteration did not even make it past my desk, so you know, you guys won't see that one hopefully, and you get a better product that will come to you guys.
Which project is?
The Napa that's going in the old
Keystone.
Super Duper Keystone
Oh,
building.
is that what's going there? Okay.
Oh, Napa's, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Napa's moving
Coolest
in
looking Napa
that
building.
building.
Yeah.
So they still planning to add on to the right side of that?
At this time, no, but that's a future kind of project that they are figuring out they have the space to do it. But I don't think that's like an immediate thing they're looking to do.
How about the old Napa? What's that gonna?
It's gonna be remodeled, and you'll get to see whatever
Okay.
plans come for that. I haven't seen anything on that one yet. And then for new business, I was talking to a couple guys before the meeting here, we have a couple projects that are coming. Sounds like Dr. Kelly's neighbor wants to do a full remodel on that house. And then there's another house in town that they've asked about doing like a garage addition and resiting it on East Waterloo, kind of across the street from your house, Pete. I don't know if that one will actually happen or not, but she's popped in a couple times to ask kind of questions. Other than that, things are still rolling. I think you guys are, like tonight, you're really busy, and I think you'll stay busy, so.
I might be bringing into the next meeting 48 Elm Street,
Okay.
which is the big brick two-story and their addition, which involves the variance. We're going to be encroaching into the rear yard. But we're just getting approval just for the aesthetics part, and then Andrew will,
Is that the one on the corner by the laundry one?
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and then Brian Vance, he filed his variance for his front porch for planning and zoning. That'll be on the agenda in August.
Does he need anything else from me, or do you need anything else
I
from me?
have everything that
Okay.
I need.
How about the Chase Bank? Is that, I mean, that's not occupied anymore, right?
I didn't think they were closing till the end of August, but I don't know if they are.
Okay,
or
What
not.
I'd say they do. I mean, do they have any plans for,
We're gonna sell it.
okay.
Any long-range plans update?
Thanks for bringing that up. So the comp plan committee, we met for our second meeting last Thursday. We reviewed demographics data for Canal Winchester and Canal Winchester School District, just kind of seeing what everything plays out, different parts. The committee felt it was important to include the school district in the analysis, but separate it to figure out who's the tax-paying base versus who's the school population. Because they identify as Canal Winchester, but they don't play the same role as residents do. So we reviewed some of that data. We are working on branding for that plan, that we can kind of roll out a website and get people kind of excited about it. This weekend at the Blues and Road Fest, we'll have a tent that will be staffed by the consultant staff and the steering committee members to kind of just grab people, residents, neighbors as they see walking by to get them interested, sign up for alerts and stuff. And then just kind of get people knowing about the public engagement that will be happening. The word of mouth component of this is really important to its success. Another thing the group is looking to do is identify key stakeholders in the community, who helps make behind the scene decisions, who helps rally people to get excited about things. So they are going to be turning in kind of contact info for those people to be reached out to directly to be involved. So I'm not saying that some of you guys may not be, or all of you guys may not be on that list, but just kind of be aware we're trying to find all the decision-making people in town to help contribute a bigger chunk to the plan. We're looking to have the first public engagement sessions, I believe, in September, and then the second half of the public engagement sessions in November.
So the projection, are there, for the demographics, are there projections that you are looking at?
So right now, the We will be looking at projections, but right now it's looking at current data to figure out what's here now to establish that baseline. And then once that baseline is established, it'll be looking at different scenarios for what that will kind of change into to help kind of guide the growth strategy.
We'll probably get for the old Rinaldi's new coffee shop.
Yeah,
Signage.
someone's looking to convert that pizza place into a coffee shop. With that, there's been talks on new awnings, new windows, new paint, a patio maybe. It's all up in the air at the moment, but,
Can they get away with the drive-through there?
no drive-through. Downtown doesn't allow for any drive-throughs.
Awesome. I can see how it sucks if they would have tried to pull that off.
Yeah, the downtown zoning district doesn't allow for any drive-throughs. It's prohibited. You can do a walk-up, but you can't have a vehicle pull up. That's all I got.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting. I'm not sure what time it is.
Time is 8:15.
Second.
Roll call, Pete Lynch.
Yes.
David Craig Crane.
Yes.
Roger White, yes. Jamal Cox.
Yes.
Dr. Scott Kelly.
Yes.
Whit Wardell.
Yes.
Andrew, we need a clock.